Good evening, welcome to another ICC King's Crusher Banter Blitz. The time is 9 PM nearly, UK time. So Rocky Top is the first challenger. I'm going to accept. Oh, move that over there. Okay, a bit loud over there. Hi Rocky Top. Okay, let's play. Maybe I'll go out. Nimzo Engine should be okay to play. Yeah. Okay, maybe we're going to a Benoni type structure. By the way, I've made a slight alteration to the wood experiment. I hope the wood experiment is okay. Just let me know if you think the wood's okay. I just fancied a change, but fundamentally it's still a wood background. Okay, so yes, okay, let me check also. Let me check my no, I won't do anything else. If you just let me know on that. Okay, so a modest start here in the opening. Okay, let's play a6. So what am I doing here, you might ask? I wonder as well. Rook e8, bishop f8. I think this is a sort of hedgehog formation I'm heading for. The hedgehog is prickly by nature, and let's see, like rook e8, bishop f8, b6, that sort of thing. Sort of waiting a bit on white to see what their next pawn moves in particular are. So I'm remaining a bit flexible in the centre. So bishop f8, b6. This is my plan. b6, bishop b7. That is a plan, I believe. And I've seen great players like Michael Adams play the hedgehog systems, and sometimes white overextends and creates weaknesses. So either the hedgehog gets squashed, or you can provoke irreparable weaknesses in the opponent's position if they overextend. But let's see. So bishop f8, just looking out for the pawn breaks, d5, c5, b5. If I play a pawn to b6, then bishop b7. It looks, oh, okay, we've got the first pawn, committed pawn. If I play d5 here, b6 might run into c6. That actually embarrasses the knight. The knight's trapped there. So maybe I can consider d5 in the circumstance. Possibly with the idea of e5. Possibly e5. And my rook is now attacked. Okay, this is a little bit, I'm reacting. I'm just reacting to the opponent's threats at the moment. I've noticed something about this knight. I can redeploy it to c6 on any, if I redeploy it, any b5, knight a5, maybe c4. Just wondering, can I do that? I guess knight h5, bishop h2. Oh, I'm getting a bit squished over here. There's another plan, g6, bishop g7, knight e4, trying to, if takes, then I want pressure on. Maybe, I think I prefer this plan actually, to try and use the fact that this pawn might be more of a liability than usual, as I'm getting squished over here. Yeah, that's one consideration, knight e4. So knight e4, if he took, okay, I'm still getting squished. Is c7 going to be critical? Not sure I like the look of this position particularly. The hedgehog is getting squashed on the queen side, and he's going to win his first pawn now. How wonderful. This hasn't worked out too well. Yeah, I'm losing the knight now, aren't I? He could have taken it, was on the knight. I think I've just been let off considerably. I think taking and then he was on there. Yeah, this looked like that looked like a disaster to me. Okay. Okay. I think I've been let off the hook already in this game, but let's see how this pans out now. I don't usually get so squished on the queen side like this. Even with hedgehogs. Most of my hedgehogs do not get squished so badly on the queen side. But yeah, I think he had a devastating line opening available to him. Let's see, can I blockade now? Blockade with bishop c6. He is losing a lot of time here in the process of squishing. The concrete gains have not been made yet, as in winning a piece. He could have made a concrete gain, I believe, capitalizing on his position. Okay, now there is rook takes c6 for b7, so I'm going to have to try and avoid that. There's bishop a6, there's rook a6. These two connected passed pawns do not bode well generally, giving the opponent two connected passed pawns on the 7th rank. Oh, what is happening? Okay, I have to watch out for bishop takes a6 and b7. Do I have time to do anything here? What do I do here? I wonder, is queen e6 possible? I'm concerned about this. There's queen b7. Queen b7 is happening anyway. I'll try and cause some trouble here. Maybe g5, queen a3. I don't know. I'm stuck. Queen b7 is happening. If the rook's loose, I can play queen a3 with one threat. Queen b7, e3 with one threat of e takes. If that's even a threat, I don't know. Maybe I can kick off with e3 here. I'm weakening my light squares as well. This, I don't know. This one? I'm under real pressure here now. You can actually queen. Oh boy. This is bad news. e3, is that plausible? e3. I'm weakening my light squares now in the process, but maybe that's not the most fatal thing. Well, it's coming close to being fatal. Okay, good stuff. I don't know. Oh man. Okay, it's good this isn't an increment game. Okay, yeah, I don't know, is there a rook f8? Is there anything? e2 as a distraction. ef.
Check.
This doesn't bode well, I gotta say. The only thing is, in my favour, he's only got 20 seconds to finish me off. These pawns look close to queening. I just want to cause trouble. I'm going to go for it. With queen b2. Okay, he's backing off a bit. Maybe it's the time panic. Pressure coming in.
Check.
Now he's back. Quite. Getting a bit of time on the clock here. Okay. And now what? He's queening. It's been... it's been a nasty game, this one. this is totally winning for white. Yes, I know.
Time warning.
I know. Uh-oh.
Check.
I'm sorry. My excuse is I only just started drinking the coffee. I timed the coffee wrong. That's my excuse. I should have had the coffee an hour ago. I only started drinking it. I'm only halfway through. So sorry about that. My bullet survival strategy kicked in there, and basically that involves checking the opponents to win on time. Basically, it's a very, very useful skill in bullet chess in particular. Okay, just check them at the end. Now that was a very, very instructive game, though. For those wanting to squish hedgehogs, I think that was exceptionally instructive from the white perspective. So, yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Crikey. You can take on C2, right? Yes. Okay. Bishop E3. I think I might have some prospects here. My first one is Bishop G5, surely for Knight D5. When I say surely, I mean, maybe, actually. Oh, he could play Rook D5. Well, there's Bishop F6 there. Queen F6. Well, then I can take here. I'm wondering if I can play this now. So rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes, pawn takes, queen takes, rook takes. Seems okay. If I can dent the pawns. Okay, so bishop f6 here. I mean, I like my knight for sure. I don't like his knight very much. I can try and nick a pawn. Knight e2 check there. Queen is held by the knight anyway. So can I give this a punt? I can feel the coffee kicking in now. Kenko. Can I do something with this F file? Yes, I can take here. This looks better than the first game, at least so far. There's a check.
Check.
As Fisher says, Pat's a seizure set, Pat plays a check. I've played it. Thank you. There's Metanov. Right. Let's get into the spirit here. Get into the spirit. So there's Metanov. 1, 2, 3. He's playing into my pet Tango system. Really? Does he know the theory? If he takes Queen H4.
Check.
My good friend Paul Georgiou taught me all about this Tango. It's a very interesting position to have here. I think it's slightly better for black. Even if black loses a piece, black can pick up several pawns from this position.
Check.
Oh, I've got Bishop C5 coming on King F2. Bishop C5 could be a crushing blow here. So he's giving up the rook. But then there's Knight F3 and it's a little bit murky. Instead of taking there, Knight F3. Well, when I say murky, I mean it can get murky. So I'm going to keep it simple on this occasion. I'm just going to take it here, because I sometimes my queen gets trapped. So I think just getting 2 pawns out of the opening is a pretty good deal. Unless my queen gets trapped here, of course. That would be rather amusing. That's what I wanted to avoid. The queen getting trapped. Knight f3 threatens bishop g5. Can I play h6? Oh, there's rook f1. There might be a check here on castling. Maybe I play bishop c5 check. Aha. Okay, I might have to retreat my queen on knight e4 all the way back to d8. So I'm hitting the bishop here. I think the damage has been done. Let's count the material. I've got 2 pawns here, according to the indicator. Yes, I've definitely got 2 pawns. Sanity check. Sanity check. 2 pawns have been bagged here from the opening. Okay, I'm ready for things. I think I'm ready for queen d8. Ready for it. Queen d8. Then knight f6. Then bishop e7. The queen's in the parking area for the knight. The knight's saying, "Get out of my parking spot." Oh no! No, no, no! That wasn't supposed to happen. Uh-oh. My casting rights have gone. Oh man. My casting rights have gone. Is my B pawn going? Oh, it's horrible stuff happening now. These discoveries on the queen, how lethal are they? This was supposed to be more simple than this. b6, there might be knight d4 to c6. So I'm going to lose b7 now. This isn't so hot. Oh, I'm going to have to play a move which isn't ideal. You can come around with the knight to c6 soon. Let's see, how can I avoid most of the disasters here? If I have... well, I'm wondering about b6. There's always a4 and stuff. There's queen d7. Oh, I don't know. I could give it a go. I don't like it. It's creaking. It's creaking. My light squares are creaking. I feel like one of Morphy's, Paul Morphy's opponents. The light squares are creaking here. Uh-oh. Hitting d5. If knight b5, maybe knight d5. Uh-huh. Now, in this position, how about c5, hitting the queen? If queen b6, queen c7. How terrible is that, as terrible goes? You know what? I'm tempted. I'm tempted. I don't know how terrible this is. It might be. This wasn't what I was expecting after bagging those pawns, I got to say. Queen b6. Okay, so can I use this b file or something? Okay. Okay.
Check.
Right. He's got a running A pawn. I'll connect the rooks. If I put my rooks on A8 and B8 here, this pawn might be slightly vulnerable actually. If I can target that later. If I get the chance to target D5, how would I do that? Well, D5 is vulnerable right now, but my king's behind it. I don't know if I can take that because of rook D1 and stuff. Oh, this is... I don't want 2 connected passed pawns coming at me. Can I take that? Actually, why can't I just take on D5 now for rook B1? Because that is with a tempo gain on the bishop. Right. He's panicking, clearly. He's panicking. Where's the knight going now? Hang on, the knight's stranded. That pawn that I've just won. Oh, okay. Isn't there knight D5? Rook B6? Or is he queening this pawn? And he takes check. Rook A6, B7, Rook B6. I don't know if my calculations are right, to be honest. But if they are, this might be good. Rook a6. Does that save the day? b7, rook b7. Rook b6. Do I trust this? There's no knight e5 there. This is protecting e5. So run this through again. Knight d5. Rook d5. Rook b6. Let's imagine a takes. Rook takes is check. I get a key check. Rook a6. How many options does he have there? Let's say b7. I can't do king c8 or king c7. Rook b6. You know what? I'm going to trust my calculations. I'm hoping the coffee's kicked in and the calculations are okay.
Check.
That was the danger one to get rid of. Right, there's still no knight e5. Okay, can I play rook c6? What am I worried about with rook c6 here? Do I get c2? It's with check.
Check.
Then there's rook c5. That looks good. Where is his checks? If rook c5. Can't see them. This appears to be going well so far. A passed pawn over here to try and tie down the king.
Check. Check.
This one to try and tie down the knights. Bishop f6, b2. Bishop d4 to maintain the threat, renew the threat of b2 without knight f6 and knight b2.
Check.
Can I overload the knights with king b5? If I take and c4, two connected passed pawns. This looks good.
Check.
That was a bit hair raising. Thank you for the game. Zion on there. Let's play d4 and a queen's gambit. Can I play e4? Here, knight c3. What about queen d2 there? Does it matter? e5, bc. So can I get away with e4, knight c3, queen d2? It might be useful to have this position. Because I'm thinking if I can get away with it, I get a strong pawn center. If I can get away with it. I've got a certain lead in development here, which looks attractive as well. The queen, it seems a bit silly to play queen a5 in some respects anyway, in some respects, without attending to the development. I want to get a strong pawn center. So I might be threatening bishop takes c4. Alright, I don't mind that. I like the position. I can castle, rook here. I'll be threatening AB. I kind of like the position from a dynamic perspective. I think this is a caricature strategy of sometimes black holding onto the pawn advantageously, but here I think it's overkill. There's no development here. Well, I've got to prove that anyway, somehow. This immediately threatens bishop c4 actually. There's a loose piece now. Bishop c4. So that's been ignored, that threat. So I get my pawn back. I just like my pawn center now. Okay. I like the dark squares here. Knight g5 is not maybe possible. Knight c3, queen c3, queen g5. But if I got rid of that knight, okay. What about this for a moment? I wanted to get a knight into d6 or c5. So this is more positional as well as attacking. If he castles, it's with tempo, knight g5 on h7, then knight e4 to go into d6. I just don't want this knight c3 business. Create some weaknesses over here as well. So knight e4 to d6 or c5. Alright, let's try and get a knight to d6 or c5 here. I want to celebrate the fact that a lot of pawns are on light squares, so oh, that's a juicy one with tempo. Tempting. If I just play a5 here and say, look, I'm creating a bind here, f6 to try and break the bind there. If I get rid of this best piece, leave knight versus bishop. Oh, the bishop's coming out over there. That might be a big deal. f4. I'm just wondering about f6. I want to keep my aggressive pawn chain. I don't want to run into queen c5 at any point. I'll get my queen off the target practice area, the x-ray. Maybe playing for f5, g4, f5. Using this rook c2, rook af1 to keep the rook on c3. Any b4, c4, knight c3 might be a nuisance. f5 immediately here. I don't know how suspect that is. Might actually be playable. There's knight e3. I can't see a big problem with f5. Immediately. If I can create a backward pawn target on f7. I did wanna maybe I should have built up for that. I could have built up with that with rook c2 first, but the thing is, I was wondering about b4 anyway. Okay, so rook f1 runs into knight e3 here. Let's just drop back to protect e3. There might be e6 on the way. Let's see. a6 is hanging. That would be a pass pawn if I went a6. He's attended to that. Now this backward pawn on f7. Can I not just double the rooks here? Without queen e2, rook f6, queen f6 possibilities. I was thinking tactically. Well, c6 is hanging. Hold on a sec. Unless my queen's getting trapped, and then a6 as well is loose. Would I be super greedy to win a6? I don't have to go in for that level of greed, I think. Let's just get the queens off. In fact, if I have a rook on f6, a6 is target practice again. Knight d5 is on c3 though. Alright, back here then. I don't want my structure blown to bits from c3 wrecking d4 just yet. What I want to do is keep counterplay minimized, obviously. How would I do that? It's easier said than done though. There's e6 here. Hold on. g4. Undoubling the pawns. g3. Trying to undouble the pawns. There is knight e3. Knight e3 does rook takes f4. Now what if he plays knight f4 here? I have undoubled the pawns there. Right. And we got a pass pawn here. What about rook e5 before he plays knight e3? No tactic? The exchange sack looks good. It's two connected pass pawns in the centre. You know what? I'm too tempted to do it. I like my idea of two connected pass pawns in the centre. Just crashing through, just from an aesthetic perspective. e7, rook e8, d5, takes d6. That sort of thing to aim for. At the moment it's not technically on the cards. If I just improve my king, maybe to e5 first. King d5, king d6, that sort of thing. I like the simplification of what I've done, the exchange set. The simplification angle cuts out some counterplay. I just want to make it about two connected pass pawns. This is the storyline. I want two connected pass pawns without too much fuss. King e5. And this is a tactic here. King d5. Trying to overload my opponent's position now. Maybe I don't need the two connected pass pawns. Oh, he's resigned here. Thanks for the game. Okay, bishop's mate. Bishop mate. Now, after that rather doubtful Nimza Indian. Okay, no. Okay. Right. This is weakening some light squares around the shop. Okay. Let's play maybe b6 and bishop b7. Take it from there. Stereotypical double fianchetto. There is knight c4 in this position. That's not so typical, giving up the dark square bishop so voluntarily. Okay, I've got a loose piece here I can attend to. So that cuts out knight c4 possibility. Maybe I should just push through in the centre. I don't want to give up the e4 square. Yeah, which I have done. Unless e4 is possible now, I think it loses a pawn. Oh well. What about bishop e7 here coming up? What e takes to get rid of this liability? E takes. Is it liability or is it good? CD to try and flood the centre with f5 e4 later. If I play CD knight e4, bishop e7, I'm playing for f5 later. I'll go for that. I'm hoping I can unblockade. f5 e4 bishop f6, flood the centre. There's no knight f6 there, rook f6. there's knight g5 on the rook. Maybe rook d6 now, there's c5. Alright, knight g5, how to handle knight g5? What about just rook a6? Okay, e4 here is possible. Well, I like my centre pawns. Yes, I like the centre pawns. I like the bishop on the diagonal. Bishop f6. Bishop f6. If f3, maybe bishop check and e3. I can soften this pawn chain with h5, h4. Take here just to soften the pawn chain. Give me the h file. King g7, rook h8 after. Yeah, I think it's tempting to do that. Or knight if I'm maybe king g7 to make sure queen h6 isn't possible. King g7 covers h6. I can't see a tactic with that just yet. So I'm trying to weaken that key pawn chain here. Right, there's a check there. Okay, I'll permit that check. All knight c4. I'm getting ready for the h file. That gets out, then he checks. Stronger on the dart squares, king safer on the dart squares with the dart square bishop. Can't see a tactic yet. Alright, it's easy for him to contest. The h file. Have I got the queens off? Queen d4. I'm just wondering about this position. If the queens are off, rook h1, rook c8. Well, he's got to attend to c5 first. He has got a 3-1 pawn majority over here. Okay, I'll take that pawn on offer. If I get my pawn majority working, g5, f4, e3. On rook h5, just rook takes and d2. That's almost strong here. Try and get the pawn majority working, I think. f4. If I took e3, took, rook d1, e2 is winning. Right, my pawn majority is making progress. Surely. Takes e3, takes e2, looks winning. There's a check there. No, there isn't even a check there. I can even just take on f2. I suppose there's king g4. I'm just wondering if just rook c4 takes e3, takes rook d3, e2. I suppose there's a check there. I'm covering g1. Do I need to calculate this business? There's a safer route, just bishop f2 and then e3. Let's go for it.
check,
Can't see it. Where's the compensation? Okay, I don't think the rook's holding this position. Right, thanks to the game. USS Hackman. I've been looking at a lot of 19th century classics recently, hence the King's Gambit choice. Okay. So, yeah, I've been looking at Paul Morphy earlier today. Okay, central tension. I like the central tension here, aesthetically anyway, if nothing else. This is pretty novel opening sequence. I don't think Queen H4 is too destructive right now with the pawn on E4. How about D takes even? Has that got any benefits? It means that bishop c5 is not cutting into my diagonal. Okay, I'll go with that. And if it avoids bishop c5, I mean there's probably pros and cons of each there. Okay, this one opens up the f file though as well. So as long as Queen h4 is not a big deal, maybe bishop e2 and castle. Or bishop g2? Can I play bishop g2? So if I castle, maybe c4 and knight c3 now. Just treat it as an exercise in undermining the centre now. c4, knight c3 looks cool. He's got some piece blockage. We're going to have central tension, second edition now. Right. And what if knight c3 here? cd, knight d5, queen c5, bishop e4. Let's imagine bishop e6. There's knight b5 to d6 almost. Queen moves. Actually, so knight c3 might have something going for it. It's a bit quicker to hit the centre. Okay, I'll go with knight c3 here. I'm just wondering, yeah. Okay, so knight d5. Alright, I can play bishop e4, queen e4, rook e1. There's bishop f4's friend for knight c7. If bishop c5, bishop f4, d3, got to be worried there. So we check if my king's on the light square. Well, bishop f4 here, that's queen e4, knight c7 check. Or there's simply bishop g2. So if bishop d5, rook e1. Yeah, I think I'll just go with bishop g2 here. I think. King's right in the centre, exposed. Bishop d5, rook e1. Alright, can I play bishop f4? It cuts across his king. Although it leaves my knight stranded. Mind you, there's always c4 after to rescue the knight. So bishop f4 seems plausible. With c4 in mind. Try and open up the king with c4. Gives queen a4 after. Yeah, c4 looks good. Queen moves somewhere c4. Oh! Didn't expect that. Queen d4, bishop c5. Queen f3 hits f8 and b7 here. Actually, f8 is just hanging here anyway. Why going to take on f8?
Check.
Come to think about it. It's check as well, it pins the knight. So now there's queen d4 without any bishop c5. Funny enough. Queen d8 mate is threatened. Bishop's covering the escape square c6. Queen d8 mates. Let's see. Oh, this is a 5-2. There's a 2-second increment here. I think this is a good enough position, even with 5-2. I can finish this surely with queen d8 checkmate, I believe. Thanks for the game. Ramesh B. Main Khan. The plan here that I really like is knight e2 bishop f4, weaken the dark squares. c4 later, 3-2 poor majority on cd. So king b1, c4, that sort of thing. Maybe g3 bishop f4, try and weaken the light squares. I think it's mainline stuff basically. g3 bishop f4. Depends what he does actually here. If g3 is too slow or something. Maybe knight c3 or bishop c3 or something else. What does he do here? Doesn't that just run into c5? Bishop f4 in this position, that seems wrong. Tactical liability, c5. Bishop f4, end of game. He's going to take e5. Queen's protected by the rook, so only 95 takes. I've got the queen protected by the rook. I don't think knight c5 is working. My king is not in a checking square. Yeah, I think this runs into, yeah, look nasty. So queen drops back here maybe for bishop f4 still. As a threat, I'm hitting the knight, I'm threatening bishop f4. It looks crushing. Knight e4 bishop f4, knight d7 bishop f4. If e5, knight e5, knight e5, queen c5. Alright, here, okay, I guess there's e5. It's quite a nice pin. In any case, use that with knight d4, knight f5. Use it here. I'm going to d6 or win g7. There's knight b5 as well tactically. Queen b6, knight d6. Using that second pin there. On rook f8, knight c4 if the queen was there. There's still knight b5 for rook d5 here. That might be good. Or simply knight f5 threatening rook d5. It's on g7 if g6. I like this. Just to take on d5. Doubles the pawns, weakens e5 a bit. So what if the queens come off? Let's see, queen a5 for knight b4. If knight d6, knight b4, queen b3. Right, so knight d6 here. Or rook takes, knight c7, king b8. That looks good for knight e5. That looks quite crushing. Well, I can't resist that one either. So knight c7, king b8, knight e5. Alright, he's ignoring that. Okay, I'll just use the pin then on d8. I think I'll just treble here, queen d2, treble. If I just treble, I don't know how black deals with that. Nothing fancy. Just treble. Okay, there. Okay.
Check. Check.
I play bishop takes. So I'm threatening bishop takes. If queen takes, queen c8. And then, I don't know, I think that's... Do I need some air for the king here? Okay, g4 then. There's knight d4 for the back row thing, knight f5. Or knight b5. Okay, so a6, knight f5, nice blockade square. Let me just win this pawn here. Possibly on my back row I need some air with a3. Yeah. So check. Okay.
Check.
I think the king's neglected there. Let's see, check.
check,
Alright.
check,
No, knight d6. Okay, thanks for the game. Shamanx. Okay. Classic. Royal Pez territory. I'll play g6. It's a move. Not contesting d4 with c3. Let me have a seal on the d4 square here. So I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe b6 and then f5, f4 threatens to squish the bishop. So d4, f4. Got the G file now. That's pretty cool to have that G file. Okay, so knight g6. Gotta watch out for tactics like knight g5. I think I can take it there if check, bishop h6. I can take it there. Right, e4 here. Knight e5, maybe that's trouble for me. Maybe queen e8. Just to try and use the G file basically. So I'm wondering, bishop f6 and rook g8. There's also a5 for bishop a6 here. Might be worth, if that rook doesn't move. Yeah. It's a nice diagonal. The bishop's blocked in on this diagonal anyway. Queen exchange. I want to deprive that d4 square after, I think with c5. Take the exchange, play c5. Then bishop f6, then rook g8. So bishop f6, rook g8. Queen wants to hang around with g2, I think. Rook g8, rook g7, just treble here. See how to make progress here now. Right. I might have mobile pawns. With bishop e5, f4, it's some mobile pawns here. f4. Bishop moves somewhere e3. f4, bishop f4, there's a check there. What about queen h5 to stop the check? Oh, there's queen f5, oh, that's embarrassing. Alright then, rook h8 then. Queen h4, king g8. Bit of elimination there. I'm in the process of elimination there. I'm trying to use the H file without losing a pawn. So king g8. I'll stop the use of d5 from the knight actually, rather than take a pawn there. Don't want too much counterplay. So king g8, try and get the opponent's pieces defensive, not dynamic, defensive. So king g8, try and tie down to h3. And double rooks on the h file, in fact. Knight f4, maybe I should take that. Knight f4, there's also queen takes d6. There's no rook d1 there or anything. Queen d6, g6. Seems mostly harmless. I'll take this in. f5. Queen h5 here. I'm on h3 again. Maybe. Okay, rook h1. I'm wondering rook g5, bishop g5, queen g5. My king's exposed though. I don't like this g file after that necessarily. And the pretty radical. Let me just take this. There's queen f5. Exchange up. I think I'm going to take this easy here. My queen g6 for a moment. What's up? e3 here. So e2, knight e2. Is that any good? Maybe just queen d4. Oh, he's got two connected passed pawns though. What about rook e4 instead? What does he do about the f4 knight? If knight h5, rook g4 check, and then play rook takes h5 after. Right, so I think rook g4 check, interruption tactic.
Check.
If king f1, not queen d1. Okay, if I take queen f5, rook f4. So I'm threatening rook f4. To get the queens off.
Check. Check.
Okay, thanks to the game. Zebil. Let's play an English opening against Zebil. Something not quite right about this. I think this is an inferior Greenfield. It's not quite right. I remember some vague Malcolm Payne lecture about this. Some subtlety. I don't think this is right. Probably can go for some sort of attack here. There's nothing in the centre to undermine. The knight's kind of misplaced. It's away from the king side. This is active rook now. I think I'll open up this diagonal if he wants that, or the h file. Let's see, knight g5, queen b3. Right, I haven't set up a centre yet. What about b3 as a plan? b3. You take here, my king's in the centre, I'll get the bishop. I'll play bishop b2 after. Rook b1 and knight b5. In the meantime, he's got bishop f5 and knight b4. I could play d3. Is that too elaborate? Just wondering if I can use h8 here. Bishop b2. Let's see. So bishop f5, bishop b2, knight d4, d3. So the plan would then be rook b1. Okay. And at some point knight b5. Maybe with d3 there's also queen c1. d3 here is plausible. So queen c1, knight e4 looks dangerous for dark square play. Of course he's got takes on knight d4. Possibly better rook b1. Queen's holding b3 right now. Queen can go to a1 later. Knight e4, bishop b2, rook b2, queen at a1 later, maybe on the diagonal. So get rid of this dark square bishop. Maybe rook d2, queen a1. Rook d2, queen a1. Is that plausible? f6. Knight g5, rook h8, queen a1, f6. There's knight e5 in this position on that bishop. If queen e6, there's rook h7. So if takes, there's knight g5. If king g8, there might be rook a, queen a1 there. But things could kick off with knight e5 here. Queen e6, rook h7. King g8, queen a1. f6 is not possible there. Queen a1 immediately. f6. Knight g5. Rook h8. g5 looks tempting. So if he takes check, rook f6, rook h7, queen e7 looks mating. So say he plays queen f5, rook h7, king g8. It looks really dangerous anyway. Actually, maybe there's just rook h8. My rook's protected at the moment. Okay, so let's think here. Nothing here. No, it doesn't seem. Don't think I made the most of that. If I castle here, do I get mated? I'll play the rook move, and I've got the light square bishop.
Check.
Play the one. Can I play this? Queen c5 there, and e4. Queen c5 is on a couple of pawns. I like the bishop anyway, having the bishop out of that operation, whatever that did anyway. He's got light square bishop. Queen c5 and e4. I'll grab this. Oh. Queen c4. Try knight e3, I suppose. There's a tactic with knight c3, right? Exchange sack. I wouldn't mind an exchange sack. It's not really on e2 yet.
Time warning.
game up, haven't I?
Check. Check. Check.
Is this an increment game? Have I really doomed it to that extent? It's an increment game. Don't tell me it's an increment game. This is really sad. Oh my god, this is the saddest game ever. This is an increment game. It's 5-1. Wow! That is a classic. That is an absolute classic. Oh, that was just such a crushing position. Oh man. Even the exchange down, it was winning. Even the exchange down. I don't know what to say. I just feel robbed. I don't mean to be a mean loser, but I feel completely... Okay, whatever. Anyway. Okay. Alright, fine. It was an increment game. Oh, man. I got to check out for increment. I can't take any risks. You just cannot take any risks on an increment game. Jeez. It's just totally lost for him. Like, in the middle game, in the end game, I just... Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just horrified with myself, actually. Okay. But it's an increment. I just didn't realise the danger there. I thought it was a time press. I thought there's no... I just don't... It was I don't know, a brilliant game just ruined. Jeez. I wasn't prepared for an increment there. Oh well. Okay. I've lost focus for sure. It's just, I don't know, the increment just feels like a lot of work, and for that to happen, it just makes it even worse. Just for nothing. This is a pretty miserable position at the moment, I've got to say. Getting more miserable. Okay. It's losing anyway. Okay, I'll try something over here. G3. Yeah, this is pretty diabolical now. Oh, don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Rook d8, queen b4. I'm getting mated. This is gone. This is gone. I'm still getting mated. Yeah. I think this is gone as well. This is gone. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I've got to get this out of my system. I can't continue without looking at this game. I'm sorry about this. Let's just examine this for a moment. I think it's the only way I've got to have an examine on this game. Okay. Especially given he wants to play an increment. Let's have a quick look at this game. It was actually worse. I mean, I thought I was almost winning here. This guts me. This really guts me, actually. Rook h7. I don't know. Okay, that's nothing.
Check.
I thought this was still okay. Maybe I'm imagining it. One a pawn here. Just takes. I thought this was okay. It's not a big deal though. It's not a big deal. Okay. E4. Nope. This is just worse for me. Okay, I needed to just get this out of my system, otherwise I'm just going to lose every game after. Basically, I just wanted to know it was actually pretty tricky. Alright, for some reason I think I've overestimated there. Okay, fair enough. I overestimated totally the position. I think from earlier. Okay, so we've got a load of challenges here. Global 16. Global 16. So this is a classic King's Engine. play knight c7 to e6. Right, what's happening here? Can I sack that pawn? This is rather maybe doubtful, this pawn sack. Maybe rook c7 is a bit of compensation. In my dreams, or something. Okay, maybe there's a bit of compensation in my dreams here. Knight b4, knight c6. Okay, that does help, knight c6. I'll take this exchange. Rook c6, queen c2. For rook c7, this looks okay. Rook c6, d5, queen c2. That looks okay. Yeah, I'm getting a tempo there anyway. I thought I would gain in tempo. Okay, rook d8 looks good. Queen d6. Alright, queen d6 or queen c2 for bishop c4 maybe. Let's try and get this bishop on this diagonal. Queen c4 here, queen e7. I play for rook c7. I hope. Right, can I set up Fort Knox over here? Or not, there's g4. I can wait for the check. I'll play rook c7 and queen f7, I think. Hope. Check bishop f1 for queen f7 after. Right, if there's no g4, let's see what happens here for a moment. Possibly, maybe I should just take on a7. I'm doing nothing over there. Knight h5 shows it's pretty protected, but I can take on a7 as long as he's not crashing through with g4, g3 or knight g3. I can take on a7, try and just maybe take on b6 and put the bishop back and queen this b pawn. Okay, here comes the attack. Okay. Queen d3 here. Or in fact queen f7. If knight h5 fg. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That didn't exist before on knight h5, it exists now. The bishops seem pretty solid here, protecting the king. So knight h5 fg. can't see a defence here. That's that appealing. There's knight e8, and so if it takes here. The well, yeah, takes. I just go back to f7, or something. Go rook a8 there, threatening mate. I'm winning on the queen side here. If queen f8, I think I'll just take and then win on the queen side with a5 and b6. Okay, thanks for the game. Minshadad. Okay. Sorry for being such a miserable get, by the way. I'll try and cheer up. I should have put the bunny ears or something. I can't. 2-1. I don't know. I mean, no, the increment. I don't know. It takes away a lot of for me. The fun factor goes. It becomes like I don't know, more like work when there's an increment. I don't know if that's the same for you guys on stream, but I don't know. I like the fact that the auto pairings don't have increments. To be honest, to be very honest, if they had increment, I don't know, the fun factor would go out for me a bit. I don't know about you guys. How do you guys feel about? Should we poll that here? The auto pairings. If you guys play on the auto pairings, do you like increments? 1 if you like increment, 10 if you don't like on auto pairing. I mean, not that there is the option. Just wondering. Do you like the increments on or not? I mean, I like the auto pairings without the increments. Basically, it takes me by surprise to play an increment game. I don't know, and it's also gutting. I don't know, because usually I'm okay losing any game without increment. I mean, it's sort of throwaway game, but I think the more effort I put in, the more wound up I get. Like, I mean, that's the same with over the board. You know, like put in like hours of effort, right, and you lose, and you sort of. Well, I don't know, I'm gutted more for over the board games usually, you know, because of the hours of effort put in. But I can see that increment is making the game a little bit more, you know, higher stakes. Yeah. You know, you put as in, not, you didn't put in money to make it higher stakes, you put in time and energy, and if you lose off that, you know, I don't know, it's just the time and energy factor. Also, I feel I'm in the sauna here at the moment, which doesn't help either. I don't want to make excuses, but okay, so bishop e5, f5, I'm burning up here. Okay, so bishop e5, f5. I enjoy. I want to be honest. I enjoy winning on time. Yeah, I'm naughty like that. I think time is part of the fun of blitz chess, and increment ruins that to a large extent. But no, I have played a lot of increment games recently online. You know, it's good to. You know, try and win on position as well sometimes, without the big influence of the clock all the time. I get that. Okay, so okay. I think it's what's worse. I mean, the happy thing about increment, if you're in a better ending, you can take it to the win then without the hassle of the clock, generally. But it forces you to if you're aware of the increment, forces you to play much more accurately. Basically, you know you're going to be severely punished otherwise. So queen, you know, queen g5 temporary pin for a moment. Maybe, you know, bishop. Oh, okay. Maybe. Oh no, I don't know. Do I keep the queens on? Try keeping the queens on here. I'm wondering bishop b8 and d5. D5 surprise on h2. Yeah, watch out for this. I'm not actually showing that. I've just realised I'm not showing that bit. I'm going to add that to the. I think I'm going to add that to the thing there that you can see the actual clock time control. I'm going to modify my template. E5. So is that F6 or not? Am I getting blasted? My queen's probably getting trapped. Alright, instead of trapping my queen, what about just dropping back for a moment? I'm wondering about my queen's reverse gear here. Is F6 plausible? Here, just to test that. I'm going to stick the time control on this, by the way. Just for my own clarity as well, if I look up there. I'm saving that template. I'm conscious of my queen getting trapped. On F6 there's H4. Ha ha, trapping the queen nearly. Queen F5 looks really dodgy actually. Right, is there any other safer methods of playing this position without getting the queen trapped? If I can get the queen over here, okay, let's put the queen. That looks like it's going to be forked at some point. Okay, this looks really passive actually. It's starting to look really passive. I don't like this particularly. Can I avoid getting hacked here? Rook g6. There's knight f4. f5, that's pretty radical. Aha. Okay. Exchange sack time. I'm going to take that knight. Oh. Okay, exchange sack here then. Not so convincing. Oh, there's queen h4. Let's get a pawn back.
Check. Check.
Uh-huh. Underline in center. Ah. Well, this has been really dumb, I've got to say, so far. Yes, I've gone out of my way to lose this game successfully so far. Great. That really was terrible. Okay. Okay. I'm going out of my way to lose this game, it seems.
Check. Check.
Oh. Okay. Lucky escape. A lucky escape there. Fishmaster. I'm a fishmaster tonight for sure. I'm okay. Bunny, Glore. Okay, games. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's see. King's Engine. Now this is an odd one. Let's try to generate some pressure here on the e-file. Okay, so I'm going to try and repel these knights. Nasty counterplay. Knight e5, bishop e2. I've had this sort of position with black, and it can get very nasty for black on d6 if I played my cards right here. Like bishop h2, rook c1, f3, queen d2, rook d1. Then later, when everything's strengthened, to go back to d6, revisit d6 with an f4 tempo available, basically. I've had a grovelly game like that in the past. Let's see. f4 as a tempo gain is possible here, winning the knight. Doesn't it win the knight immediately here? f4. If c5, yeah, that's damage to position, knight b5 and on d6. Knight b5, okay, the knight can live another day, but it's quite damaging to the position. Knight d6 and e5. I know David Bronstein in his games manages to generate enough dynamic potential for most of his King's Engine games. But sometimes it's just not like that. It doesn't happen like that. So knight b5, unless that's losing material, knight b5 to undermine that knight. d6 can be a tactical liability here. Bishop f3, bishop d5. Is that possible later? Or, no, actually bishop c4. Bishop c4 is more to the point on f7. So rook e7, queen d5. Yeah, this looks like it's, at the moment, it's going my way. Knight f7, rook f7, e6. Looks pretty tasty. If the rook moves ed, winning more material. Thanks for the game. Hamlet. Okay, I'll play this g6, little pet g6 system, I think. So if he closes the centre, I don't mind that. It's a bit like King's Engine, a lot like King's Engine, but usually in the King's Engine the bishop's not stuck there. So I think it's better if it's instinctively. I would have thought the bishop's better in the King's Engine when it's on f1. You can get there with c5, bishop f1. I'm getting a load of King's Engine style tempos. If he can set up a light square blockade. Okay, I don't think he'll give up that bishop like that. Alright. So we got a standard King's Engine style position. With the bishop on a4 now, it still seems in the way. White usually wants the bishop on f1 and to, you know, come down the queen side with things like a4. Bishop's in the way at the moment. Okay, I can even consider a6. I think. So h5, now rook g7, knight h4, g4. That pawn is also hanging there. I'm not interested in taking it particularly. I want to play this, knight h4, g4, King's Indian style. Let's imagine check, king h1, queen f2, there's rook e2, and this is a queen sack there. This looks like it's crashing through at first glance, but I have had very unfortunate King's Indian games recently, well in recent weeks, where they got a rook to h1 and I suddenly have worse king than they have. But here it looks as though g4 looks to be, as far as my intuition goes, it looks to be like g4's pretty thematic and strong here. I don't think my h file is going to get hijacked that easily in this position. Well, I hope not anyway. Alright, this looks wonderful so far. Check, queen f2, rook e2. g3 looks good. Knight f1. Well, there's queen b6 and king h1. Just king moves for rook h7. Surely this is crushing. Because that h file. So the check. Let's imagine king h1. I just move my king. I'm sort of mating on the h file, surely.
Check.
In fact, this could run with tempo almost. Knight f3, there's queen f3. If there was pawn takes, then there's g2. But he's got queen f3 here. Okay, I just need to do king g8, rook h7. And knight f3 is threatening mate, even if my queen's attacked here. Rook h7 threatens knight f3 mating. If knight h2, rook h2 is mate. So just rook h7 in this position. It seems weird to play queen b6, but it seems to work in this situation. So knight f3 is threatened. In fact, even with knight g3, knight f3 is still mating, I think. Knight h5, I just take that, I've interrupted h5 there. As long as g2 is blocking in the king, this should be okay. So a takes, knight f3, knight h2, rook h2 is mate. Okay, thanks for the game. Dashing Fox. Now, Dashing Fox has been a tough guy to play, I think. Let's not play boring London system though. Let's have some balls to play something other than London system. But this is a bad opening I've just set myself up for. Great. So knight f3, bishop g5 maybe, castle queenside. Or is this completely wrong already?
Check.
Yeah. This looks weird, what I've done. Okay, I mean, maybe I've got something. Rook c1, yeah, I don't know. I could be cynical about this position. Structurally compromised. On the other hand, I've got the dark squared bishop, and he's got some dark square weaknesses. Let's imagine queen a5, rook c1. Alright, don't have to imagine it. Okay, can I get castled? Why would he do this out of interest? Queen a3, so I've got no bishop f6, he's got queen c1. Queen a3 could well be annoying. What about just rook c2? You could carry on being annoying with queen a4. I got some weaknesses around here, but I don't know what he's doing with this knight. Okay, what about... Okay, no, I can't let d2 go. Or can I? This is a weird game. e4 maybe. If I can get castles... Okay, let's go back here for a moment. One of my concerns... Well... One of my concerns... Can I go for bishop h6, there's knight g6, h4, h5, h6, g6, c5, queen c5, there's no bishop c4. What do I do here? Alright. a2 can drop. Is he casting queenside? Is he going to take a2? I'm hoping to get an attack here then. I don't want to drop the e2 bishop particularly. On b6, bishop f1. Okay, if I'm opening up lines, it might be okay. Doesn't matter about c4 that much. I just don't want to drop a piece here. That's the main thing. On bishop c4 anyway, there's rook b2. He can't play bishop c4, can he? Okay, interesting. Right, my dark square bishop is particularly seemingly a prisoner in the pawn structure. Can I just sack it or something on b6? What do I need to do here? The queen is actually irrelevant in this position, I've just realised. So, knight d2. I don't know where this is going. Knight e1 to d3 to b4. That might be worth considering. Knight d3 to b4. Bishop b6 is easy parried at the moment with rook b8. If it takes rook b8. This rook b2, the queen moves. What about f3, queen f2, bishop b6? That looks like a plan. Alright, that looks like a plan. I lose c4 in the process. He's on f2 at the moment. Maybe rook b2 for a moment. Then queen f2 for bishop b6 looks more dangerous than other possibilities I had. On bishop f1, bishop b6. Well, this is like winning more material. Actually, king could just evacuate there. I don't want the knight coming to c4 to protect b6, so possibly it's a good idea to consider bishop b6, ab, queen b6, queen d7, queen b7, king e8. Then what? The king's pretty safe. Is that really the case? It can't be. My intuition says to go for it. Although I've just realised something about this. This queen c5 check could render this not so funny. And the king takes is not check, at least. Maybe I throw in queen a7. King f1, queen c5. bring queen a7 to this, so the rooks are not connected.
Check.
Then I play king takes, so it's not check. Then I worry about this position. Do I worry now? Queen c5, what have I got? He's also got knight f4. This might not be clever at all. Knight f4. He can get the queens off. He can get the queens off.
Check. Check.
I was
Check.
knight d2. I've just lost the rook there. Oh, this is good.
Check.
Well, this has gone well. Ah,
Check.
yeah. For some reason, I don't know. For some reason, I thought I had an attack again. I don't know. I dream I got these attacks. Maybe they don't exist. Okay. So. I might have some problems to set. I think rook b6. If he takes. Oh, knight c6. He's defending everything. Is my king in trouble? If I play a waiting move for a moment, that doesn't really help. Maybe it does. Maybe rook c2. Maybe it does help. Maybe it doesn't. Okay. What about g5 here then?
Check.
Right, there is rook b6. Okay. If I take that and try and win this pawn over here.
Check. Check.
Ah, doesn't look good. Getting mated onto.
Check.
I mean, he's done me over again. I'm a regular customer here.
Check. 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 Time warning. Check.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Oh. Yeah, I think he's better than his grade. He keeps doing me over every week. I think I'm a. Oh, anyway, all right. Okay. It's time for a 1 minute auto pairing game. To finish off. Okay, bishop g4 and knight e5. Is that any good? Can I play that? There's something like knight e3 here, Desperado. Uh-huh. Okay. So, okay, is that, can I defend that? This looks awkward.
Check.
Oh, this looks really dangerous.
time warning.
Whoa. No, this doesn't look too clever. 12 seconds. I don't think I'm going to make it in this position. This does not look clever.
Check. 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 Check.
Yeah.
Check.
That, oof, blimey. Just one more. Just one more. Just one more. Okay, let's try and get revenge. Try and get revenge. Now this is more okay. More attacking, whatever. Attacking. Queen d2. Could he just take that right? Maybe c3 coming up. f4. Is g4 any good? That is dangerous. Keep the bishop there. Queen f4 is ready to sack the exchange back.
Check. 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 Check.
How's this ending?
Time warning.
I don't know. Maybe I should have gone for it. Oh.
Check.
Boy. Uh-oh.
Check. Check.
I passed the h-pawn. If that counts for anything.
Checkmate.
Oh. Oh, I can't end it there. Just one more. Just one more. Then I'm definitely ending. So it's no, not him again. Okay, I'll try my bet system. This is the last. Okay, if I lose this, this is it. This is it. This surely is an interesting position now. Can I not win a centre pawn? No. I'm probably losing a centre pawn now. Right. Oh man. Oh, is there castle queenside? Oh, this guy! I think this guy's too good. Bullet. Yeah, I think I've just blundered the bishop. Okay, I think on this disastrous that I have to quit now. I have to quit. Otherwise I'll just end up playing him like again and again. It wouldn't be that much fun. All right, so okay, okay. That's it. I'm gonna lie down now. Okay, thanks for coming. Hope it was mildly entertaining. Remember to like the video. Likes appreciated, just to watch me lose every game there. Yeah, likes appreciated. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend. I'm going to ask co-producer, should we end here on this disastrous note? Okay. Yes, I've been so happy this session. I've had such wonderful games. Okay, no, have a good weekend. Yeah. Okay, hopefully next week. Yeah. Okay, cheers then. Thanks very much.